Hello, my friend. Welcome to our channel, Moon Sleep Stories. Tonight, we slip into something rather unusual. A gentle hypnosis that leads you toward lucid dreaming. The kind where you notice the dream while you are inside it. And the kind where journeys are less about physics and more about quiet wonder. Picture yourself leaning against a pillow as though it were a train seat. Eyes half closed, the hum of the room like an engine, and the horizon of sleep just beyond the window. You probably won't survive this, at least not in the normal sense of surviving the day, because this time you are leaving behind the heavy seriousness of waking life. Before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe. But only if you genuinely enjoy what I do here. I would love if you share your location and local time in the comments. It is always beautiful to see the small constellation of people all over the world settling down together. Now, dim the lights. Maybe turn on a fan for that soft background hum. And let's ease into tonight's journey together. Softly, your breath settles into rhythm. You sense the body sinking, but your mind feels like a traveler waiting for the train to glide away. The blankets are your ticket, the pillow your passport. You imagine doors ahead of you, shifting like panels of mist. Each door is a portal toward a different dream world. One looks like a forest edge, glowing faintly under moonlight. Another shows rippling streets of water, a city half submerged. Another gleams with stars so bright they seem to burn a hole into the fabric of the dream. You walk slowly toward them, noticing the details grow sharper. The first door's frame seems carved of wood, knots polished into spirals. The second looks like marble, left outside in rain for centuries, streaked with silver moss. The third feels metallic, smooth and cold, a kind of spaceship waiting for you to touch. The choice is not about danger. All doors open toward your own calm, toward the landscapes your sleeping mind wants to show. Lucid dreaming often begins with this realization. You are the architect, though your blueprints were drawn while you weren't looking. Historically, the idea of lucid dreaming is not modern at all. As far back as the 8th century, a Tibetan text described dream yoga, practices where monks would remain aware inside their dreams to understand the nature of reality. Historians still argue whether these practices were purely spiritual exercises or also a way to survive the long, dark nights of Himalayan winters. Imagine the debates. Monks sipping yak butter tea, politely disagreeing whether dream control was sacred truth or a clever trick to avoid boredom. You picture yourself stepping across the threshold of the first dream door. A hush of cool air touches your cheeks. The ground beneath your feet is not carpet, not wood, but something more like sand mixed with starlight. It crunches softly, like sugar poured into a glass. You feel safe here. Across the horizon, a flicker of city lights sways. At first you think it's a village in the distance, but then you realize the shapes are shifting constantly. Towers melting into hills, hills rising into pyramids, pyramids collapsing into seas. The dream is alive, building and unbuilding itself as you walk. You laugh quietly because yes, even in dreams, construction crews never stop. Your pace slows, and you notice the sound of your own footsteps changing with each new surface. Stone echoes, grass hushes, water ripples. This shifting stage reminds you of another quirky fact. Aristotle himself once wrote about dreams that seemed controllable, suggesting that the mind might carry a watcher inside the dream. That's nearly 24 centuries ago. Apparently, philosophers also had trouble falling asleep without overthinking. You breathe in deeply, as though to ground yourself. The air tastes like a blend of cool rain and old books. You feel your chest expand, then soften as you exhale. You drift deeper, letting each step sink like a pebble through water. And then you notice a pattern. Each door leads not to separate places, but to layers that fold into one another. The forest becomes the city becomes the stars become reflections in a lake, and the lake becomes your own eyes looking back. You pause at the shore of that strange lake, watching ripples spread. The surface shows a reflection of you not as you are now, but as a traveler wearing a long cloak, its fabric stitched with maps. You smile at the absurdity. You don't sew in waking life. Yet your dream self seems like a medieval cartographer with Pinterest-worthy style. Every ripple feels like a whisper from the subconscious, a reminder that dreams weave personal symbols. Some scholars still argue whether lucid dreaming is mostly random brain activity, or whether it carries deep psychological messages. The truth probably lives somewhere between science and poetry, but in this place, you don't need to decide. The shimmering water opens again, this time pulling you gently forward. You glide across without effort, as though the lake accepts you as part of its current. The stars above melt into the surface, creating a dome of mirrored light. You drift even further, through that dome, into a wider dreamscape where history and imagination blur. Your eyelids in the waking world feel heavier now. Muscles surrender. Thoughts slide into softer rhythm. The portals remain before you, always ready, each a passage toward deeper lucidity. You glide onward, the lake fading into shadow, until cobblestones appear beneath your feet. The sound changes from soft splashes to a gentle clack of shoes on stone. Around you rises a city that does not belong to a single century. Lamps hang from iron posts glowing amber, while arches stretch in Roman curves and roofs lean in medieval timber. It is as though all history decided to throw a block party, each building dressing up in its favorite era. The air is cool, and you feel safe here. You walk past a fountain, where statues sip from their own cups, water spilling back into the bowl in endless loops. A cat slinks across a stairway, flicking its tail, then dissolves into mist. Somewhere in the distance, bells toll, though the time never changes. They are forever striking midnight. Your footsteps echo, yet no one stirs behind the shutters. You are the only wanderer, the sole witness to this timeless city wrapped in silver moonlight. The moon itself hangs low, so close it almost presses against the rooftops, its light spilling like liquid over every surface. You breathe in and let it go. Quietly, you drift along narrow streets, following curiosity more than direction. You find yourself before a tall archway carved with symbols you can almost but not quite recognize. They shimmer as if alive, rewriting themselves while you blink. Historians still argue whether ancient scripts such as Linear A from Crete were undeciphered languages or simply records of trade. But in dreams, the script doesn't wait for scholars. It bends to mood. Tonight, it tells you, keep going. You step through into a plaza wide enough for silence to feel grand. The marble stones gleam as though polished every evening. In the center stands a library with doors wide open. You walk closer, realizing the shelves are filled not with books, but with glowing orbs. Each orb hums softly, like a memory frozen in glass. You reach out, touch one, and it unravels into vision. A scene blooms around you, ancient Alexandria. Torchlight along the docks, scrolls carried by scholars rushing to protect them from fire. The detail is hazy, shifting like watercolor in rain, but you sense the tension, a whole world of knowledge balanced on fragile papyrus. You step back and the orb snaps shut, returning to its shelf. You breathe in deeply, your chest rising with awe. A quiet smile touches your lips. Even inside dreams, the loss of knowledge feels like a ghost haunting time. One quirky tidbit flickers through. Some medieval scholars believed that libraries could actually dream themselves. Dream-stitched versions. The floor creaks as you wander deeper, and you laugh softly. Yes, even dream libraries complain when someone stays too long after hours. You step outside again, and the moon has shifted positions. Now it hangs at the horizon, impossibly large, painting the streets in sharp silver lines. Shadows lean like black rivers. A breeze whispers across your cheek. You feel safe here. You pass under balconies draped in vines, each leaf quivering, though there is no wind. You pause at a small tavern door. Inside, the scent of bread and figs wraps around you. A lute leans against the wall, though no one is playing it. You sit at a table, and a cup appears before you, clear glass filled with something like moonlight poured into water. You sip. It tastes like memory. The first time you stayed up too late. The first time you got lost on purpose. The first time you realized history is not past, but present, alive in you. The tavern's candlelight flickers. The shadows on the wall begin to form stories. Kings, queens, travelers, sailors. They act out histories, but not as textbooks would tell them. They whisper in sarcasm, wink between battles, drop a joke about bad sandals or clumsy horses. You chuckle, realizing even the past cannot resist humor. Somewhere above, bells toll again, still claiming it is midnight. Historians still argue whether time in dreams has weight, or whether it is a trick of the sleeping mind. For you, the night stretches long, elastic, generous. You step back outside, the cobblestones shining, wet now, though no rain has fallen. The city seems to breathe with you, exhaling as you exhale, inhaling as you do. Its rhythm comforts you, steady and calm. You drift deeper, every step drawing you further into the lucid glow. The moon follows, patient, bright, guiding you through streets where centuries fold together like pages of a single book. And as you walk, your body in the waking world relaxes further. Shoulders drop, hands loosen. Your eyelids grow heavier. The lucid city stretches out, promising more paths, more wonders. more gentle strangeness. The streets dissolve, as though the cobblestones were sandcastles washed away by a tide. Your feet now rest on cool, shifting grains. The hush of the ocean pulls you forward, each wave a deep breath of the earth itself. The salt air clings softly to your skin, and above, the moon still lingers, reflecting as a wide silver streak across the restless water. You feel safe here. The sea stretches endlessly, yet in dreams, distance bends. You take one step, and the surf is already curling around your ankles. Another step, and you glide forward, buoyed by the current, as if gravity has politely excused you from its rules tonight. You sink beneath the surface, but there is no panic. The water wraps around you like silk. You open your eyes, and the sea glows in blues and greens, schools of fish scattering like brushstrokes across the canvas. A turtle drifts beside you, ancient eyes blinking slowly, carrying the patience of centuries. You breathe in and let it go. Though underwater, the inhale feels more like absorbing light than pulling air. Historians still argue whether sailors in the ancient Mediterranean actually believed in sea monsters, or if the tales were exaggerations told to spice up bar conversations. But here, a shadow longer than a cathedral moves above you, and you can't help but think perhaps the old sailors weren't lying, just editing. You smile at the absurdity. Giant dream whales don't need to pay rent, so of course they thrive. You rise again, breaking the surface, but the scene has changed. Now you are weightless, suspended not in water, but in sky. The transition is seamless, as though the sea simply tilted and poured you into the stars. You drift deeper into the night sky. Planets gleam like lanterns hung along a cosmic street. You push gently, and momentum carries you between them. Saturn spins lazily, its rings glowing faint gold. You run your fingers through the dust, and it sparkles like flour sprinkled on a kitchen counter. You laugh quietly. Who knew the universe kept a bakery open at midnight? Your body softens further, tension leaking out. Back in the waking world, your muscles ease into the mattress, your breath slowing to match the rhythm of orbit. You breathe in and let it go. A comet streaks by, tail of ice shimmering, and you hitch a ride. It pulls you across galaxies like a roller coaster without tracks. You shout into the void, but the sound comes out as laughter that melts into stardust. Everything is calm tonight. Quirky tidbit, meta. You approach a floating arch, made not of stone, but of translucent aurora. It shimmers green, purple, gold, and hums with a vibration you can feel in your bones. You step, or perhaps float, through it, and suddenly you are in another realm. Here the stars hang lower, close enough to touch, each one pulsing with a heartbeat of its own. You reach for one, cupping it in your palm. It is warm, alive, and it whispers fragments of memory, not just yours, but collective ones. Lullabies sung in countless languages, footsteps across wooden floors, lovers' promises whispered under countless moons. You breathe in deeply, chest swelling with the weight of shared humanity. You exhale softly, letting it all scatter back into the sky. You are safe now. The comet carries you once more, but slower this time, rocking like a cradle. The galaxies pass in hushed motion. Historians still argue whether dream visions of the cosmos influenced ancient navigators, those Polynesian sailors who read the stars like scripture to cross thousands of miles of ocean. Perhaps they too dreamed of flight, of gliding across celestial maps in sleep before carving the routes in reality. You tilt your head back, and the universe feels endless yet intimate, like walking a familiar street under new lights. You laugh softly at the thought. You've gone from undersea turtle tours to cosmic bakeries in under 10 minutes. Dreams really should get travel brochures. You breathe in and let it go. The stars blur into gentle light, fading toward something softer, calmer, as though the cosmos itself is tucking you in. You drift deeper, weightless, timeless, calm. The starlight bends, folding into narrow paths that glow like chalk lines across dark velvet. You follow one, barefoot, the texture under your soles shifting between cool dust and warm moss. Each step steadies you, and though the world around you is vast and strange, your body feels light, almost playful. You feel safe here. The path curls into a small circle of lanterns. They float without posts, suspended in mid-air, their flames calm and steady. As you step into the ring, shadows gather and shape themselves into figures. They are not threatening. If anything, they radiate warmth, curiosity, even a touch of humor. One figure wears a cloak stitched from feathers. Another holds a staff that hums like a tuning fork. A third is shorter, with spectacles far too large, as though they raided the prop closet of a fantasy film. You realize these are guides, symbols conjured from the fabric of your mind, here to nudge you along your lucid travels. The one with spectacles coughs politely, then offers you a scroll that unrolls itself. The words rearrange into pictures, stairways leading nowhere, mirrors reflecting skies, doors shaped like keys. You chuckle quietly. The dream clearly has a sense of irony. You breathe in and let it go. Quietly, you listen. Each guide offers something simple. The feathered cloak one whispers, "Remember to notice." The staff bearer hums, "Sound is a bridge." The spectacled one mutters, "Don't trip." You smile at that last one, because even in dreams, your mind insists on comic relief. You drift deeper, absorbing their advice without pressure. Historians still argue whether ancient shamans, when describing spirit guides, were recounting genuine visions or dramatizing inner voices for storytelling. Either way, the similarity is striking. Dreams have always been seen as classrooms, where symbols act as teachers. You leave the lantern circle, but the guides follow at a distance, silhouettes at the edge of your vision. Their presence comforts you. They are not bosses, not critics, just companions, making sure you don't wander off into the void. The landscape shifts again. You find yourself in a field of tall grass swaying without wind. The moon above swells even larger, a glowing guardian eye. The blades of grass whisper as you pass, forming words half heard, half imagined. Rest here. Go slowly. Trust the way. You breathe in deeply, lungs filling with a fragrance like mint. #meta, sex 0.05. Yet, all at once, it tilts its head, inviting you closer. You follow, realizing this too is a guide, but one born of pure symbol rather than memory. The creature leads you to a pool of still water. In it you see not your face, but symbols. A clock melting, a bird in flight, a ladder leaning against nothing. The guides behind you nod approvingly, as if to say, "This is the language of dreams. Pay attention." You breathe in and let it go. The pool ripples, and you hear a gentle voice, not from outside, but from within your chest, reminding you that in lucid dreaming, noticing these signs can keep you anchored. The awareness itself is the magic trick. You drift deeper, comforted by the idea that you are not lost, but guided. Historians still argue whether dreams should be taken literally, as omens, or simply as neurological housekeeping. Tonight, it doesn't matter. The guides smile, the symbols shimmer. You walk on with a sleepy smile drifting across your face. The lanterns fade behind you, but their glow lingers in memory, like night lights you carry in your pocket. The figures dissolve, yet their reassurance remains. Even the shape-shifting animal curls up at your feet before melting into mist, leaving behind only warmth. You breathe in deeply. Everything is calm tonight. The grass field fades, and the horizon bends once more, leading you toward the final stretch of the journey, back toward rest, carrying the gifts of lucidity gently in your hands. The grass softens beneath your feet, slowly becoming sand again. But this time it is not the restless beach of earlier. This sand is still, warm, and faintly glowing, as though the moon itself poured silver into every grain. Each step feels lighter than the last. You feel safe here. The horizon stretches wide, yet calm. You sense that your dream travels are beginning to circle back, not in a rush, but in a quiet spiral, like a bird gliding down toward its nest. Above, the moon lingers, round, luminous, a patient companion that has followed you through cities, oceans, and galaxies. The air carries no wind, yet your hair moves gently, stirred by something softer than air, perhaps memory itself. You let it flow around you, noticing how your breath and the rhythm of the dream have become one and the same. You breathe in and let it go. Ahead, another doorway forms, but unlike the earlier portals, this one is simple. Just a frame of wood, rough and unpolished, like a gate to a cottage garden. Its simplicity feels honest, inviting. You step closer, realizing it leads back toward rest, toward the kind of sleep that no longer needs travel or symbols. You drift deeper, unhurried. As you move, you recall fragments from the journey, statues sipping water in timeless cities, giant whales sliding through oceans of ink, guides whispering riddles under lanterns. They linger in your chest like postcards collected along the way. A quirky detail passes through your drowsy mind. In the 19th century, some Victorians kept dream journals, so carefully illustrated that they looked like art books. Historians still argue whether they were true records or embellished fantasies, but in a way, your memory now feels like one of those pages, part history, part dream, stitched together in soft ink. You smile sleepily because it doesn't matter which is which. The truth of dreams is not proof, but feeling. You pass through the wooden frame. On the other side, the sand transforms into the edge of your own bed. The blankets rise to greet you, warm and familiar. The pillow waits, cool against your cheek. You breathe in deeply, chest rising, then sigh out, body sinking further into comfort. You are safe now. The guides no longer follow, but you sense their presence folded into the quiet. The moon hovers above your window, steady and calm. The streets, the oceans, the stars, all fade gently into background hum. What remains is the hush of your own breath, steady and slow. You breathe in and let it go. You drift deeper, no longer needing doors or signs, only the rhythm of sleep itself. The dream travel has given you what you needed, not souvenirs, but calm, curiosity, and a reminder that even in darkness, you are never without wonder. Everything is calm tonight. The dream pathways grow faint now, dissolving like mist at sunrise. You rest in their echo, knowing you can return whenever you wish. Every city, every sea, every lantern-lit guide, they are not gone, only waiting quietly beneath the surface of sleep. Your breath steadies, slow and unbroken, like waves folding onto sand. Each inhale feels lighter, each exhale softer, carrying away the last remnants of wakeful thought. You no longer need to follow doors or paths. You are already where you need to be. The moonlight that once pulled you through dreamscapes now hovers above your resting body, casting its calm glow across your pillow. It asks nothing, promises nothing, only shines. A reminder that even in silence, you are held. Quietly, the edges of thought blur. The chatter of the day fades into a hush. Even your own voice grows softer in your mind, as though it too has chosen to sleep. What remains is comfort. You breathe in deeply, the air cool and gentle. You exhale slowly, releasing tension you had forgotten you carried. Shoulders sink, muscles grow heavy. The body, loyal and patient, settles into stillness. You are safe now. There is no hurry. The night will hold you as long as you need. The dream will carry you wherever your heart drifts. Perhaps you will wander cities again. Perhaps you will float among stars. Or perhaps you will simply rest, wrapped in quiet blankness. All are welcome. Let yourself go. Let yourself rest. You have traveled far, and now the only journey left is into the deepest layers of sleep, where even dreaming dissolves into peace. Sleep well, my friend. Sweet dreams.